Hi, welcome to Nap Time Nutrition. I'm Yaffi Lvova, registered dietitian nutritionist with Baby Bloom Nutrition. And with me today is the fabulous Joy Carter of Joyous Life. And today we're talking about self-care and mini vacations. So I know that I can be a very anxious and angry mommy. And Joy told me that she used to be the same way, but then discovered mini vacations. And so Joy, tell us more about that.
Okay, sure. Well, one of the things that's great about, because what I do is I work with mindfulness and meditation. And so the description of mindfulness is being aware of the present moment without judgment and without going into the past and the future, just being aware of the present moment. And so when you think about mindfulness, it's really anything that you do where you forget time. So like if you've ever watched a really good movie or read a good book or been doing some sort of activity where you're just like, whoa, like all this time passed, like you just lose track of everything, that's mindfulness. So what I really encourage people to do is to find that activity or something that they, just lose their self in time at, and make sure that they schedule some little bit of time in their day for it. Even if it's just 5 minutes, that can be really helpful. Another thing that people can do is they can surround themselves with things that remind them of that thing that they love to do. So if you love to, a lot of people like to do coloring, the mandalas are real big now. And so if somebody likes to do that, maybe you have one that you really love and you frame it and you put it up somewhere where you see it every day. So you really want to engage in those activities and then surround yourselves with things that you enjoy, that you love, that remind you of those things.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a fantastic example, specifically the coloring, because I recently heard it can be difficult as a mom to get these mini vacations, but coloring, if you have an adult coloring book and your kids sit down and color their own stuff with you, that could be your mini vacation, and you're also spending time with your kids.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and there's lots of things too, because I also talk about, if you have smaller kids, maybe, well, you could probably put them in a stroller or something, but, go play with your kids. Do a little, mini kickball game or something like that, or go for a walk, or go to the park and where the ducks are and, throw food out to them. Or, you can definitely do things that incorporate your family, even little kids, into what you're doing. And so you really want to, be able to do that, because a lot of people feel guilty that they're taking the time away from their kids or their family and things like that. But you can absolutely incorporate your kids into a lot of these things that you're doing, and they have fun too. So, it's good for all of you to have that experience.
I think that's great. I know for myself, I've recently been making an effort to stop multitasking so much that when I was playing with my kids, I was also thinking I should be doing the dishes, I should be doing the laundry, I should be cooking dinner. And I thought that if I took time away from my kids to get those things done, that I would feel better, but it's really just more feeding into the anxiety spiral. And when I was able to let go of those things and focus on playing with my kids, that was actually the relief, which was a surprise to me.
That's great. Yeah. And, you want to have the time to enjoy your kids. The dishes are going to be there. It's the the world. You don't have to have this beautiful, pristine home. I mean, what's really important is how happy the people are that's in it. And if you've got this perfect home and everything washed and, everything's perfect and put away, but everybody's miserable, like that's not helping you with your mindfulness either, because a lot of it has to do with your environment. And actually, I was talking to someone that I know who does functional life. And what she was talking about was, because you'll see a pile of laundry, and you'll think it's something I have to do. If you change your mindset and you think it's just a stack of clothes, something that you have to do, it's just have your perception of it's a stack of clothes, instead of, oh, this is a reminder of what I have to do. So that was a really great pointer that she was talking about, is to kind of change your mindset about what's around and really think about what's important. I mean, spending time with your family and your kids is really important. You're not going to remember years down the road how many times you washed the dishes, but you'll remember those fun times that you had with your family and your children.
It's true. And I think it's great that you just mentioned that, because everyone tells you don't worry about the dishes, don't worry about the laundry, but you're missing the how. How can you not worry about it? So I think what you just said about making that pile of clothes neutral as opposed to an action item on your daily to-do list, that's the how, and that's the part that everybody's missing. That's the part that I was missing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. So how did you come across all this?
How did I? Well, it's been a process. It's really been a process because, you know, I myself, I was kind of grumpy years ago. I probably didn't respond and make decisions in a calm way, would make make situations worse. And so I had to spend a lot of time damage control, or I'd feel guilty because maybe I snapped and didn't respond as well as I could have. And so I wish I could say there was like this big event, like some, you know, something came out of the sky and I was like, whoa. But really it was just, I was thinking about life and I was like, you know, I think my life would be a lot better if I wasn't so crabby. Like it would just be easier for me. And so from that point on, it was just a mindset change. And I think that's what it is for a lot of people, is that you just have to decide that my life is going to be different and I'm going to do things that will make my life different. And so from that point, I started to stumble across different books and speakers and different people who were talking about how to do meditation and mindfulness. I've taken classes in guided imagery, taking classes in coaching and different things where there was a lot of mindfulness and a lot of self-care incorporated into it. And so one of the things that I see as such a barrier though for people is that, you know, people don't have a whole lot of time for it, but I really think you can incorporate these things into your life in a way that doesn't have to take a whole lot of time, doesn't have to take a whole lot of money. Really look at what's around you and be creative. You know, maybe you do a trade with a neighbor. You know, maybe they've got kids, you've got kids, you trust them. So maybe you do a trade so you can have a date night, or you do a trade just so you can get something done, or, you know, something like that. Or maybe they like to cook and you like to cook and you say, okay, well, I'll make like a big casserole this week and you can make a big casserole next week or something like that. Like be really creative about who's around and what your resources are. They don't always have to be paid resources. They don't always have to be a professional resource. You know, there's lots of creative things that you can do to incorporate the self-care into your life.
Yeah, self-care is so important. This is my third segment related to self-care. And one of them was your segment on the guided food meditation, which is so important to enjoy your food. And I did another one with a guest, Gila Glassberg, who was talking about enjoying taking a bath and just doing little things throughout the day in order to take care of yourself, that you should write down a list of 10 things that fill you up and make sure to do 2 or 3 of them every day. And that you'll notice relationships around you change for the better because of that. Because when you take care of yourself, you're someone who other people want to be around. You're someone your kids want to be around. And I also learned that that the biggest blessing you can bring into your house is that your laughter should be the soundtrack to your children's childhood. That when they look back, they know your laughter. They should know the sound of your laughter. And I think that can be really difficult when we're just inundated with social media, with so much noise throughout the day and a to-do list that's never ending. We really do need to take time to enjoy life and to enjoy ourselves and, you know, to enjoy our youth. So you mentioned a couple of specific things, and there are more things that Gila mentioned on that one as well. So people should go back and check out that food meditation as well as the interview with Gila Glassberg. But what kind of things do you do in order to relax and have a mini vacation?
Well, one of the things that I suggest to people, that was on. One of the things I suggest to people is to think about what are some of the things that you have to have every day for you to be functioning and feel healthy. So like, for example, for me, one of the things that I have to do is I have to eat some sort of breakfast. Like I can't just, because some people skip breakfast and if I ever do that, it's just not a good idea. So that's one of the things that for me is very important. Like I have to eat some sort of breakfast. And then the other thing is that I need to take at least 5 minutes in the morning. Like I don't just wake up and go right into starting to get ready. Like I actually wake up a little bit earlier and I take some time to kind of let myself wake up. So I'll either do, you know, a short reading. There's lots of like daily affirmation things, books and things that just have short little things. So I'll do a short reading, or I'll do a short meditation or visualization in the morning. Even if I feel like I don't have time, I give myself that 5 minutes to kind of transition and wake up, because if I don't do that, the wheels come off of this bus and it's not, something's going wrong that day, and it's going to be worse. The other thing I talk about is that when you're thinking about self-care, is to, whatever you're doing, incorporate your 5 senses into whatever it is. So there's 2 things that I talk about, and one is doing creative visualizations, and the other is creating a nurturing space or creating a nurturing environment. So creative visualizations is what I call, that's the mini vacation to your happy place. So in order to do that, the first thing you do is, what's your happy place? So maybe it is taking a bath, or maybe it's a vacation you took, or maybe it's, a family gathering that you had. And so really think about that time when you just felt so happy and at peace and loved and nurtured, and have that be your happy place. And when you think about your happy place, incorporate your 5 senses. What did it look like? Who was around you? Were there sounds that are associated with it? Are there scents or smells? Like, a lot of people, smell is a very powerful memory trigger. So maybe there's some kind of dish that was cooking that you really love. Maybe, going into, dishes, maybe there was food that you were eating that was celebrating something. All of these things. Is there a feeling to it, a tactile feeling? Was it warm or cool? Was the breeze blowing? Really, really think about the experience of being in your happy place. And the other thing is the feeling of the happy place. Like I said before, did you feel loved? Did you feel nurtured? And if you already have that in mind, what your happy place is, like, you can, maybe things are going crazy and you're like, well, let me just take a couple minutes, a few deep breaths. Deep breathing is very important. A few deep breaths to calm yourself, because deep breathing activates the calming center in your brain. And so when you do that, it automatically calms you. Because if you've ever been really stressed out, have you ever just went, ah? Ever seen anybody do that? And that's an automatic response to trigger that calming center. So that's one of the things that you can do with the visualization, and you can do it in a couple minutes. And then that also incorporates the surrounding yourself, creating a nurturing environment. So like I said before, you can put a picture up of your happy place, or something that reminds you. Maybe there's a shell, maybe you went to the beach, something like that. Put colors around you that you like. You don't have to have like a room or a space, but you certainly could have a little corner. Like I have a little corner that has all my stuff in it, right? And it's a comfortable chair and it has a soft blanket. So think about, what do you see around you? What do you want to see around you? Where is there something soft, or a necklace or a bracelet that really reminds you of being calm? So those are a couple of things that you can just incorporate into what you're doing in your everyday life. In fact, I have a little nephew who's 1, and I was babysitting him, and his room was like so comfortable because there's like a night light and it was blue, and it had like a sound machine, and like both him and I were out because it was really projections on the wall and all this. I'm like, wow, I need to like do some of this like toddler stuff in my room, because this is really cool. So if you could do that for your toddler, you could sit in there and also take it in.
I get that. Yeah, actually, I was with a client this morning, and the babysitter fell asleep with the baby on her, and she texted me, "I'm so comfortable."
So comfortable. I'm like, I'm gonna get one of these little things with the little, cartoons on the wall, because everything. I was like, this is nice.
That's awesome. So when you were talking about happy place, my first thing that comes to mind was I visited this island off the coast of Brazil a long time ago. It's called Morro de São Paulo. And I remember sitting on the balcony in a hammock, and there's a fly. Maybe my visualization is getting too real here. And I was sitting in a hammock, and there are these spider monkeys in the trees, and that's my happy place. I remember that for sure. So would you care to share yours?
That's great. Well, it's funny. I like the beach. I have like numerous happy places, so it just depends on where I'm feeling at the time. Sometimes my happy place is more active, but I really like the beach. And there's been times when I've, because I go in the water sometimes, but I really just like to sit there and just watch the waves and the people. and the people surfing or whatever. So I'm usually at the beach for my happy place and just sitting and watching the sunset, and then just enjoying the peace and quiet and how pretty it is. And so we go a lot to San Diego, and we've been to Hawaii a couple times. So those are usually the beaches that, I'm at the time where my happy place is. So I guess we like beaches.
Awesome. Yeah, I love beaches. And I was just thinking when you said waves, I remember being in Catalina Island and just listening to the waves, and you feel it. And I'm a scuba diver, and I've been sailing at all this. I'm a water sign.
Oh, there you go. I'm actually a fire, so I don't know where the water. I don't go in the water, so maybe that's part of it. But I typically just sit and watch it. That's more place for me. The waves and stuff are a little scary to me because I'm like, oh my god, watch it. But yeah. So
write down your happy place, and also what fills you up. What makes you happy? What's going to be one of your things that you really focus on for your mini vacation?
When I focus on what I'm happy, I really focus on the feeling of it, like the peace of it, just that feeling of not having to worry about anything, not having to get anywhere in any particular point of time. Because I think that's something that I know that I need a happy place for, is because I'll start to spin out. I'll be like, oh man, I have to do this, and I have to answer this person, and I have to remind myself, especially with having your own business, you can always answer an email, or you can, you know what I mean? It's like you're always on. Is that sometimes I just have to say, you know what? When business hours start tomorrow, that's what I'm going to start. That's when I can do this. Like some things you can't put off, but sometimes it's like, no, think about, do you have to do this right now? Yes or no? And then, plan to do it. Don't just forget about it, but have a plan. I have little stars and tasks that I put up, and I say, okay, well, this is going to be on my first thing on my task list tomorrow. So I think that's just that feeling of, because I'm always like, oh, I have to do this. And it's like, no, you're just taking your time right now. You're just being in the now, and don't worry about those things. They will be there when you're done.
Yeah, my fantastic career coach, Erin Garcia, taught me one of the first things in one of our first meetings was that I had to ditch the to-do list because it was just a list. I had to actually write down a time for everything. And that, it seems intimidating at first when you look at the schedule, but the truth is that you're allotting time for things so you don't have to have everything in your brain at once. And it's much more relaxing to do business that way, or to live life that way for that matter.
Right. Well, yeah, because I think what happens too when you have a to-do list, because I used to be a big list maker, and I do more of the task type of things where I put it in, for the day kind of thing. It's more of a task thing. But, I think it is scary, because if you have a big, long to-do list and you don't fit out.
Oh, you froze on my end. I'm not sure if Joy is frozen for everyone, but she's frozen on my end. Uh-oh. Okay, well, well, hopefully Joy will come back. Hopefully she's not, well, okay. Thank you so much for joining us, Joy. And, oh, there you are. Okay, technology. We get so reliant on it. Are you there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there you are. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, I lost Joy. Anyway, I'm going to post where Joy is, where you can find her, and you can definitely find her on my previous Naptime Nutritions with a guided food meditation, which was really fantastic. And I will see you next week for Naptime Nutrition, 1 p.m. Arizona time, which is 3 p.m. East Coast time and 1 p.m. LA time, I believe. We don't change clocks here. The rest of you. Anyway, and we're going to be talking about how stress affects digestion, and that's going to be a series. So join me for that right here live on Facebook. If you're a local to the Phoenix area, come to Toddler Test Kitchen at the Hallie Hart Children's Museum. Yesterday we made kiwi lime sorbet and a winter fruit salad, and it was beautiful. And here's Joy.
Oh, am I back?
I was just doing my sign up. I was just doing my sign up. Yeah, and find me on Instagram and Pinterest. And thank you so much, Joy, for joining us and bringing a little joy to our lives today.
Why, thank you, and thank you for having me. I hope the information helps some folks out there to find a little bit of mindfulness and a little peace and take a mini vacation whenever they can. So it's my pleasure to share the information.
Thank you so much. And will you post a couple names of those books that you were talking about with the morning readings?
Sure,
Okay.
I definitely can.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you soon.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.